Is scuba diving biased against women? Can I make a video on this topic without pissing people off? Let's dive in and find out. Ladies and gents, welcome back to Tampa Bay Diving. My name is Blake and I'm a professional recreational dive instructor and digital content creator, and I make these videos to help improve your dives. So this question was actually brought up by one of my female students a few weeks ago. I thought about it a lot because I was wondering if I could make a video on this topic without pissing people off. Then I realized it's 2025 and the internet being its crazy self that some were going to hate it regardless, so I thought, what the hell? So a female student of mine were up in the Springs a few weeks ago, and there were plenty of other instructors with their students, but she was the only female dive trainee amongst us. So she, rightfully so, asked me why there weren't more women divers. I thought about it a minute before I gave my opinion, which I'll go into here. So stick around to the end to make sure that you don't miss anything. There are no active or widespread discriminatory policies that prevent women from participating in scuba diving. The only rule that is exclusively for women is that none of the agencies will let a woman participate in any diving activity or training if she is pregnant. On every agency's medical questionnaire form, there are sections that just pertain to female health related issues, but those are not necessarily outright disqualifiers. However, I'm not just going to sit here and act like women don't face any unfair discrimination, and before forming an opinion, let me explain what I mean. Here in the States and most of the Western world, it is illegal to discriminate against gender, meaning you can't refuse service to a woman based on the fact that she is a woman. And I wish it was that way everywhere. I have been diving for 20 years next month, and I've been blessed with the opportunity to travel the world, experience different cultures, beliefs, opinions, and learn from others' point of view. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of stuff that is just wrong. In the Middle East and Eastern Europe, I've seen women not allowed on dive boats simply because they are women. And to be honest, it pisses me off. There is no reason why women should be prevented from diving for simply being a woman. But what about here in the States, and more particularly where I am in Florida? Yes, there are some who look down upon women or make disparaging remarks toward them simply because of their sex. Now, this happens both intentionally and unintentionally. I've met other men who wouldn't refuse service to a woman, but still hold the belief that they are inferior. I've met people who acknowledge that women can accomplish anything, but still hold a general skepticism about diving with them. And that's just flat out wrong. I've got dive buddies that are men and women. I've never seen any evidence that supports these outrageous claims. Actually, to the contrary, I've seen a lot of women exemplify traits in a dive buddy that I prefer. Things such as attention to detail, dive planning, skill execution, being less cavalier with risk underwater, diving within their certification limits, and others. These things aren't influenced by a person's gender, but more so by their personality. Overall, though, men still outnumber women in our sport, but that is changing. Over time, more and more women are getting involved, and the industry has seen the numbers, and they've been making efforts to attract more females into the sport. Things such as International Women's Dive Day, women's only groups and trips to make women feel more comfortable, and trying to increase the professional ranks to offer more female instructors. As far as diving goes, men are built with more bone density and skeletal muscular structure, which makes getting all the gear on and carrying tanks on your back easier. But once you get into the water, it's kind of a moot point. It's primarily based on skill and training level. Now, I'm an independent instructor, not a shop owner, which means that Tampa Bay Diving is just me. I handle everything that relates to the business and I don't have any employees, so my particular knowledge on this is limited. Of the shops in Florida that I interact with on a regular basis, I don't see any gaps here. From the Keys to the Panhandle, the shops that I collaborate with offer the same rates to all their instructors regardless of gender. So that means that if two new instructors, a male and a female, were to be hired by a dive shop, then they would receive the same rate of pay for every class that they teach. Now, there are ways to increase your salary, but those can be accomplished by, again, anyone, regardless of gender. Things such as putting in hours working at the dive shop by helping customers, servicing gear, making repairs, teaching private lessons, and more. Does this mean that there isn't any pay disparity from other dive shops? No, I'm not naive to sit here and hold that belief, but if you are a female professional diver and would like some references of shops you could work with, then I can happily provide you with a list. Men and women seem to be on different wavelengths in this regard. How we communicate to one another varies by region. I would like to believe that a lot of the issues that arrive are just a case of misunderstanding, but let's dive into this a little deeper. Men. We need to be more mindful of the things that we say and our actions when around our female counterparts. Now, I'm not saying put a muzzle on yourself, but there are things that women just hate. And men and women are just wired differently. I've overheard a lot of guys refer to girls as sweetheart, babe, or honey in a professional setting. Unless you are in a consensual, intimate relationship with a woman, don't call women by any of those or other pet names. I promise you, it's going to come off as misogynistic and she will be offended. Don't make comments on their physical appearance. Back in the day, I remember where you could say things like, "You look really beautiful today. I love what you did with your hair," etc. You have to be really careful these days, guys, because even though you may not have any intentions, women might perceive you as coming off in an abrasive manner. Now, I'm not saying that this applies to every woman. If you are out looking for a companion, then yes, compliment her, but make it genuine and not creepy. We just need to learn how to be more professional around our female colleagues. But it just doesn't apply to how we communicate to women, but how we interact with each other in the workplace as well. And keep in mind, everything I'm saying here is from events I've actually witnessed in dive shops. Having a conversation with another guy at the dive shop about a date you had or a girl you're attracted to could be misconstrued. Even though in your mind you said nothing wrong, a female could see it differently. We want more and more people to come into this sport and to develop the passion for the underwater world that we have. More than half of the world's population are women, and it's our responsibility to create a warm and welcoming environment for them where they feel comfortable. It's not all about us in life, work, or any other aspect. We have to be considerate of others to get along. Now, I want to be clear. There is nothing wrong with being men or masculinity. I don't subscribe to the idea of toxic masculinity. We were designed to be a certain way for a reason. You were created to be protectors and providers to your family and community. Scuba diving is your community. Protect it, because I guarantee you love this sport. If you didn't, you wouldn't spend thousands of dollars every year participating in it. Provide a warm environment for it to thrive and grow. The more divers that we have, the more people we have striving to keep our reefs and wildlife healthy. Just save most of the inappropriate conversations for your core group of buddies, where you know everyone will laugh it off as a joke. I'm a veteran, the majority of my friends are veterans. My group chat is made up of a few of my closest friends, and if any women were to ever read it, they would probably think that we have Tourette's, and they'd also question how we could still be friends based on the amount of insults and jokes we ridicule each other with on a daily basis. But that just goes to show yet another difference between the sexes. I've never seen any man insult a woman and she just laugh it off and see it as bonding. For women, I would say, ladies, try to give guys the benefit of the doubt. It's 2025. A lot of those 1900 misconceptions about gender have been dispelled. And I truly believe that, as I said earlier, if a guy says something that comes off across as offensive, most of the time it's probably a case of misunderstanding. I'd like to think that most men are enlightened to see that in diving, women can do anything that men can do and don't harbor any reservations about them. If I thought that there was extreme bias against women in this sport and that it was an unsafe environment, then I would keep my daughters as far away from it as possible. But to the contrary, My oldest is 7 and she is a snorkeler now, but she cannot wait to start diving in a couple of years. And I can't wait to have her as a dive buddy and to take daddy-daughter dive vacations. I'm just so excited to see how she grows and advances. And I'm hoping she'll take to spearfishing and technical diving as well, just not into caves. But I'm curious and I want to know your thoughts and opinions on this topic. Let me know down in the comments your take on this subject. And if you enjoyed this video or got some educational value, then dive down, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring that dive bell. That way you never miss any of our exciting content. And if you'd like access to exclusive content, then consider joining the members section for less than a cup of coffee a month, where we'll be diving in, giving you insights on tips like this, dive gear, special locations, live streams, and so much more. Plus, portions of the dues are donated to organizations like the Coral Restoration Foundation that work to rebuild and repair depleted coral reef ecosystems. I'll be back next week with another video, but until then, plan your dive and dive your plan.